Hello y'all, and welcome to YoungFolk Knits. 2023 has been a bit of a wild ride, but we have almost made it through. And I've been looking back on a lot of things that have had to do with my knitting and my making, and I've also really been thinking about some different intentions I have for the coming year. So let's chat a little bit about my goals for 2024. Hello y'all, and welcome back to YoungFolk Knits. My name is Casey, and on this channel I mainly like to share all about my love for fiber arts. So there's lots of knitting, and sometimes there's some spinning and sewing and crochet, really whatever else I decide to dive into at the moment. I also sometimes like to share about living on a small farm here in Arkansas, where my husband, myself, and our children are beekeepers. We love raising gardens and chickens and animals and spending time outdoors here in the foothills of the Ozarks. So if any of that sounds like it might be your cup of tea, make sure and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future video content. I literally cannot believe that we only have a few weeks left of 2023. It feels like this year just went by so fast, barely survived it. But lots of fun things in 2023 too. I got to go to my first knitting festival ever. I should say fiber festival actually. Rhinebeck was so much fun, and I got to meet a lot of other knitters this year. I didn't start spinning this year. I started spinning the year before, but I feel like I really got to enjoy spinning this year. Lots of fun knits, lots of sewing. Very, very busy year. Lots of hard things too, but lots of good things to be thankful for. I don't do New Year's resolutions, but I've definitely been thinking about what has been accomplished this past year and intentions moving forward, goals that I have set, and things I really want to focus on, either continue to focus on or start to focus on. First of all, I want to say a big thank you to everyone here that's part of the YoungFolk Knits community. I could not do this if it weren't for y'all, and I appreciate each and every one of you so much. Thank you for coming back and for watching and engaging with my content, and I am so thankful. When I started doing a knitting podcast, COVID had started, and I was really looking for a artistic outlet and it was fun. But because of y'all's kind support and continued viewership, it has turned into something that can help support my family, and that means so much to me. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I cannot say it enough. So I have my list here I have made of things I've really been thinking about, and I thought I'd just share with you what's been running through my mind. First of all, write everything down. I gotta get more organized. I was thinking, it'd be fun to do a everything I knit in 2023 video because everybody else is doing one. I don't know what I knit in 2023. I have no idea. I used to be so good at putting all my projects in Ravelry, and I would hear other people say, I've been really bad about updating my Ravelry projects. I need to get better at that. And I'm like, really? Because I put everything in there. Y'all, not anymore. I don't know what has happened, but it's like I almost just quit updating my projects, and I don't know why. I guess because life has been so crazy, maybe. I can't do everything I made in 2023 video because I gift a lot of the things that I knit after the fact. I don't have them anymore, and I don't even know. If I were to sit here right now and you said, name 5 things you knit in 2023, I don't know if I could do it. That's how bad my brain is lately. So, my friend Sophia from Making Treasures, she actually gave me this. It was a gift. It wasn't a sponsored gift with no obligation to share or anything. She just gave it to me as a friend, but I am sharing it because I love it so much. But she produces these maker's notebook, and they are amazing. Y'all have heard me gush about them before. I love the leather-esque binding, the gilded edges. But I think my favorite part is just the massive amounts of organizational opportunities that are in this notebook. So, yes, electronic organizing is amazing. Lots and lots of people are moving to that, and I can definitely see its advantages. But I'm old, y'all. I am 34, and I come from the generation that did not have electronics. I mean, like, we had a little Game Boy, Nintendo Game Boy, and that was pretty much it. Pen and paper is my first love, my first language. And I feel like sometimes it's easier for me to just grab a pen and write it down. And so I think I'm gonna try really, really, really hard this year. And I'm starting now because there's projects that I'm starting this month that will not be finished this month. They're gonna carry over into January. So everything, this is gonna be my 2024 notebook. So I'm starting it now. And I'm gonna write everything down, and then at the end of next year, I'll be able to pull this out and know exactly what I knit for 2024. Other thing I'm gonna do is, like, in this first couple of pages here, I'm gonna write down all my goals so I can quickly look back at them. Next up, I really want to work through my whips. Now, this is not some exciting new goal. I'm sure you hear this a lot, but I have an embarrassing number of whips. It's humiliating, honestly. That's why I don't share them with you all. I keep saying that I would really like to do a frog it or finish it video, but it feels so overwhelming that every time I think, okay, I'm gonna sit down and do it, I can't dig the motivation up from deep within me. I just can't do it. And that's sad because I think that there are quite a few projects that I could go ahead and frog, but I get so attached to them, and I feel like, oh, I'm not going to do it right now, but I am going to do it at some point. It's not that I don't want it. It's just that I can't work on it right now. I got distracted with, Testnants. So I will come back and finish it. I just can't do it right now. So I really need to go through, and I think if I know that I'm not going to get to it within the next year, within the next 12 months, then I need to go ahead and frog it. And then if I decide I still want to make it a year from now, I can recast it on. Like, it's at that point. And then I think that I would feel a lot less anxiety. I would have a more manageable number of whips to work on. So yes, work through some whips. Let me write that down. So sort of tied hand in hand with that is my next goal, which is to do less test knits. So I like test knits. I think that they're super fun. I get excited about them, and let's be totally honest, sometimes the only way I finish a project is if it's a test knit. So it's really good for my finishing mojo. But I feel like possibly even I need to be a little bit more selective with my test knits because I've just done so many. And not that there's any that I've done that I don't like, but I need to cut back on the need to test something and make it immediately, because I do have a lot of whips. I do have a lot of yarn that is ready for projects that I had planned, and I want those things. I just keep getting distracted. So am I saying I'm not going to do any more Testnants? Absolutely not. I love doing a Testnant, but I'd like to cut down on how many I do, how often I do them. So I'll check in with this and see how I'm doing in a few months. Okay, next up is something that I feel like I have been working on and I really want to continue to, and that is continue to fine tune and hone in on my knitwear sizing. This past year, and maybe even the year before that, I feel like I've sort of turned a corner in sizing my knitwear. And that has made all the difference in actually wearing my finished objects. So I've been knitting for, I don't know, 12, 15 years. I have to sit down and count it up again. Time flies. And not all of that was garment knitting, but I feel like I understand my body better, and I understand how to fit my knits to my body better. And that's a big deal, because otherwise your finished objects aren't going to be something that you want to wear. And a lot of that comes from what my father-in-law calls experience. But it doesn't have to be that way. You don't have to have a knit for 12 years before you figure out how to fit a sweater to you. Don't make the same mistakes I made. One issue that I had for a long time was trying to fit things to my bust measurement. I mean, the pattern says measure your bust, and if your bust measures this much, you need to knit this size. And that's just not the case for me. I have a large difference between my full and upper bust, and because of that, I have found I need to size down to a measurement that fits my shoulders and waist better, and that has made such a difference. It's little things like that, and it doesn't have to take you a long time to figure that out like it did me. But I'm so excited that I have figured some of these different things out. Like the length that I like things to be, the length I like my sleeves to be. All of those little details are adding up to finished items that I love. So our bodies never quit changing. I mean, they're really never going to be the same. And because of that, I will continue to need to change the fit of my knits. So that's a goal I have, to continue to stay on top of the fitting of my knits, and I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna make sure I don't get lazy. Next up, in the same vein as that, I want to take more pictures of myself wearing my finished knits. I am a photographer. I love taking pictures. I love taking video of other people. I find it so easy to sort of position and fill the frame and make everything look like it should, but whenever I turn the camera on myself, it just feels like such a chore, and I hate it. I usually have to set up a tripod, or if I get somebody else to take my picture, I have to coach them through every little detail. We have to take 100 pictures. I have to look at it and be like, okay, in the last 10 pictures, those were awful. We need to change this thing about the next 10 pictures. And it just, I don't enjoy it. On top of that, I don't really have a lot of super negativity towards myself. I don't think I'm that great looking, but I don't think I'm ugly. I'm me, and my face is my face. That's not really what I'm talking about. When I say I hate being in front of the camera, yes, I do struggle with being overly critical of pictures of myself, but mainly I just don't enjoy the work of trying to take a picture that even aesthetically is the way I like them to be. But since I do have a knitting podcast and I'm showing you guys things that I make, I think it's important to show you what they look like on a person as well. And I think that is helpful to everyone watching. So I am trying to do better with showing things on my body, taking pictures, taking video. I don't know if y'all have noticed that or not, but I have been making baby steps, trying to do better with that. And my goal is to really do a better job this next year. So definitely going to continue to work on that. All right, next goal, I really want to knit a sweater for my husband. So y'all have seen Mr. YoungFolk Knits on a previous episode where he joined me, and he's very knit worthy. However, I've never knit him a sweater because he's not been a huge sweater wearer in the past. He now has a few sweaters that he loves and he wears a lot. And something I've noticed about those sweaters are that I would say the gauge, the yarn weight is a fingering to a DK and nothing above that. Those are the sweaters that he will actually wear. Anything bigger than that, he usually says is just way too hot and he can't handle it. He has a few cabled sweaters that are worsted to Aran bulky weight, I would say. And there's like 2 days a year that he can wear them here in Arkansas. So I do really want to make him a sweater, and I want to make sure that it is something at least worsted or below that he can tolerate. I'm on the lookout. I have definitely seen a few petite knit sweaters for men's bodies that I like a lot. I know that Andrea Mowry has a few graded for men's sizes as well, but I'm still very open, and I don't want to make an all over hugely massively cabled charted, just all over wild cables in a fingering weight. I love cables. I'd love to do an all over cabled sweater. Probably won't do it in a fingering weight though. My point is, please leave me some suggestions. I am open and welcome to suggestions. Please let me know if you have a pattern that you really like that would be great for Mr. YoungFolk Knits. I would highly appreciate it. Also, looking back on the past year, I've noticed something really weird, and that is the fact that I did not finish a full pair of socks this year, which is really weird. Most years I finish multiple socks, multiple pairs of socks, and none this year that I can think of. Maybe I did, and see, this is why I need to write things down. But I don't remember finishing any. So this next year, I want to at least finish a full pair of socks, like one for each foot. Okay, writing that down. Okay, next up, I really want to knit more cardigans. I love cardigans. I love pullovers. I knit a lot of pullovers and I love them. I'm not saying I don't want to knit pullovers, but I think that my wardrobe really needs some more cardigans. I have a lot of cardigans, but never enough, never. Cardigans are the thing I will wear. They have a great utilitarian value. They're good. So I really want to knit some more cardigans this year. I see this on a lot of people's knitting goals, and that is to learn a new stitch. So sometimes I feel like, not that I'm, some great expert or anything like that, but sometimes I feel like I have tried everything at least once. Like there's nothing I haven't tried, but there is something I have not ever done on a full garment, and that is steeking. So this year I am going to knit and steek a full cardigan. I gotta do it. Always gotta keep trying new stuff. Another goal I really want to accomplish is to spin yarn for and knit a full sweater. So I have really enjoyed spinning. I feel like I have learned a lot about spinning. When I start a new hobby, one thing that I do is I sort of dive headfirst into the hobby, but at the same time, I also go into full research and learning mode. So I've taken like 5 different online classes, and I definitely have watched a lot of YouTube videos, but I found the classes to be way more educational for me. And I feel like they really, really have increased my knowledge of yarn and spinning. I feel like taking those classes has now even increased my understanding of yarn in general, not just me spinning. I really want to spin a full sweater quantity and knit an entire sweater with it. I think that that would be so educational to me and so much fun. I think I would enjoy every second of it. I have sweater quantity of fiber. I need to finish spinning it up, and then I need to get it on the needles. I have so many single skeins, and I just end up looking at them, think they're pretty, but I don't really use them. So I also want to kind of do better about, instead of focusing on just single skeins, working more on a shawl quantity or a sweater quantity. So that's some plans for this next year too. All right, next up, I want to continue to knit and try out new fibers and new yarns. I think that some people are wine connoisseurs. They absolutely love to try out different wines, go to wine tastings. They can pick out the different notes of different flavors and smells, all the good stuff. Well, I want to be a yarn and fiber connoisseur. I just think it's so much fun. I think it's so interesting. And I know that a lot of people like different aspects of this fun craft that we have. But one of my favorite parts is trying and experiencing new yarns and new fibers. I think that it's just so much fun, and I continue to learn new things and learn different wools that I like, but I want to try new wool blends, different twists, different spins, different breeds, different combinations of all of those things. And I feel like I continue to find things that I like better than what I was using before. And I like this for this specific fabric. One of the big joys of knitting for me is trying a different fiber or a different yarn with different projects. And so that sometimes that might mean I knit less things if I want to put my money towards trying different yarns, but that's okay with me. I would rather knit fewer things and get the chance to knit with lots of different things. And that's different for everybody. That is 100% just something that I enjoy, and maybe a decision that I would make at certain times. I'm definitely in no way telling anybody else what they should or shouldn't do. But that is something that I think is a lot of fun. Also, I want to continue to find new designers. So I know we all have certain designers that we're super comfortable with. We know how their patterns are written. We understand their knitting speak and how they go through formatting a pattern. We love the things that they create, and that's totally fine. I have my favorites too. But I really enjoy finding new designers and seeing their brainchild, their new designs that I have not knit anything like it before, or, you know, I hadn't thought of that before. So I just think it's great. I think it really expands our knitting vocabulary and repertoire, and it's super fun. It's like we all have a knitting passport, and trying new fibers and new yarns and new designers. It's just fun. So I want to continue to expose myself to new designers and patterns this year as well. Before we talk about my last few knitting goals, I would like to say a quick thank you to the sponsor of today's video. I recently partnered with the Choose app, and I have to tell y'all, it is absolutely the coolest thing. It has got so many fun brands, products, it's got gadgets, it has yarn. We Are Knitters has recently been available. The best part is you can discover these great items at a discount. So a couple of things I've picked out this month were some rings from Nadaré. I got this really lovely ring, as well as this croissant ring, which I think is super fun. I also picked out this necklace from Camp Hollow. It's a lamb, how cute! And it has a flower crown on it. It's just the absolute cutest porcelain little spring lamb. And the last thing I picked out this month was something I've had my eye on for a really long time, and that is a Solowave, which uses red light therapy for your skin. I'm so interested to see how this works on my skin. It is very highly recommended by a lot of different sources, so I'm excited. I've only used it a few times, but it looks like it's going to be very cool. There's so many different fun things, shoes, clothes. I saw the coolest vintage looking record player and Bluetooth speakers the other day, so I'm going to put a link in the description. And if you download the Choose app, then you can use the code YoungFolkKnits, all caps, and you can get $30 off of your order. So if you check it out and you find something you like, make sure and get that discount. Thank you so much, Choose, for sponsoring today's video. Okay, my last few goals. First of all is sewing. So I just have a stack of fabric I really need to work through, but my main goal is to sew 2 pair of linen pants and 2 linen tops. Now I also want to do a Zadie jumpsuit and some dresses. I usually do at least 1 or 2 dresses every year, but I really want to sew more linen pants and some tops to go with them. I already have the fabric, and I find that I get the most wear out of linen pants. I wear linen pants all the time. So I really want to get those sewn up and in rotation in my wardrobe. Hopefully I'll get that done before spring and summer. Last up, I really want to try to buy less yarn. Now, I'm not saying I'm not going to buy any yarn, but I have a lot of yarn. And as I mentioned earlier, I just love trying new fiber blends and new yarn, new to me yarns. But honestly, I don't really even have to buy new yarn to be able to do that, because I have a lot sitting there in stash that would still be a new experience to me I have not got to actually use yet. So I really hope that this next year I can do better about using more things that I already have and working through before bringing new things in. Maybe it's not the perfect color. I have this thing so often where I see a sweater and in my head I see the perfect shade and tone of a certain color that it would be perfect in. And then I go on a months-long search to find this exact color, which a lot of times I can't find. You know, when literally the color I have right here is beautiful, it's just not that color. So I kind of need to work through some of those issues. And use what I have. I really need to do better about that. So hopefully I will this year. Writing that down in big letters. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today and for listening to me ramble on about all the things I've been thinking about for this next year. And I really hope that y'all enjoy the last little bit of this year with some fun making, some cozy, warm weather and warm knits. And until next time, happy knitting, y'all.